Good morning to all. I, Dr. Christina, Faculty Women's Studies, on behalf of Administrative Training Institute, Mysore, welcome you to the virtual platform. We now bring the national level program on role of women's self-help group in managing COVID-19, the Karnataka model. It's my privilege to introduce the speaker, Dr. Mamta B.R. Gowda, IAS, has 28 years of experience, of which she has trained policymakers, drafted public policies, and dealt hands-on with the day-to-day work of governance at all levels from city corporation to the chief minister's office as an administrator. She always believed in multitasking, and the best example is her present task as Mission Director, National Rural Livelihood Program, Government of Karnataka, and also serves as the Joint Director General of Administrative Training Institute, Mysore. Having completed her Masters of Science in Mass Communication, Bangalore University in 1987 with a gold medal for academic excellence, she also completed her PhD from Bangalore University in 2005 in mass communication. Dr. Mamta is also a painter and is interested in all kinds of crafts, cultural heritage, creative writing, and nonfiction. Web designing, technical writing, and multimedia are other areas of specialization. Her weekly column, Unseen Karnataka, in the New Indian Express was extremely popular. She is a researcher herself, also a well-known officer in Karnataka. Now I request Dr. Mamta B.R. Gowda to share her Karnataka model on the role of women self-help group in managing COVID-19. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, Christina. I think I'll keep it if you can just load my presentation so that people can just see what it is.
Definitely.
I will be very brief. Usually, leadership as we see it has certain parameters. We always think that leadership has certain parameters. But over the last 2 months, my experience in working with women in Karnataka has given me a different insight. I feel
Thank you.
the poorest of poor today are what is possible and what is their actions, and then poorest of poor are defining what is leadership today. They're changing the parameters of leadership, and learning from them can also change our own lives. They're changing the lives around, and that will also help us change ourselves. This is a mindset which needs redefining. Leadership comes from unlikely places. What I have seen is in the last 2 months during the COVID, women from the poorest of poor women, from the below poverty level women, have emerged as leaders. They have taken over, redefined the way people live, redefined the way the livelihood happens, and they have taken charge of not only their lives, but they have also taken charge of other people's lives also. These people have challenged the mindset that leadership comes with the leadership comes from a lot of sustained training. That is what they have been able to challenge. And what they have now come to tell us is that everybody has an ability, even the most unlikely of us can take on leadership with a gentle push. We usually think we are the product of circumstances. But what I have learned is that we are not the product of our circumstances. Irrespective of people's circumstances, and prevailing conditions, they can collectively create a unique feature. That is what National Rural Livelihood Mission Women, we are around 11 lakh women, 11 lakh 68,000 women all over Karnataka who have navigated many villages during the pandemic, reassuring women, building their confidence. They've demonstrated that they can stand by the district administration. They've also persisted and shown that they could provide the community with that kind of leadership and provide continuous, sustained support to a lot of women around us. Now, they have been able to see during February, we realized that there is going to be some changes looking at China and other countries. We came to realize that there will be some changes that will happen in the world. So livelihood has to change. So we women just re-engineered their own lives and got into mask preparation. More than 40,000 women got into mask preparation, and around 10,000 women into sanitizer production, phenyl production, liquid soap production. And each of these women earn around 500 to 800 rupees per day. They were all able to get gathered together, put up their own tailoring machines, take orders from, we gave them a small training. We gave them a very small training during the beginning of the beginning of this COVID situation, online training. Then they were able to approach various places, take orders and start preparing. When everywhere masks were being sold at 500, some places 500 rupees, 150 rupees, 200 rupees, these women were able to produce masks at 12 rupees. They were able to sell masks at 12 rupees, 8 rupees, 7 rupees. And all these are triple layered masks. They are not ordinary 2 layered masks. They are triple layered masks. And out of cotton can be, which is friendly to the environment. And they will wash, and these are all wash and wear kind of masks. Then this leadership of these women, they went forward, they did a survey. We provided support to make a survey from door to door, find out if anybody is having any kind of morbidity, or are they having fever, what are they, how many old people are there, how many people are there with comorbidities. So they were able to do that survey. They were able to counsel women, other women door to door about how to change their lifestyle for COVID. And we realized that one thing, leadership, which I like to call unlikely leadership, it's a new concept of unlikely leadership, actually comes from an act of conscious decision. These women decision, they have made around 32 lakh masks. They have earned around 50,000. Many of the women have earned in 1 month 30,000, 50,000 rupees. They have supplied and they've given free. They've distributed masks free of cost to villages. They have made 32 lakh masks, 1 lakh liters of sanitizers, 10,000 liters of liquid soap, 24,000 phenyl, 120 tons of fruits and vegetables they have procured from the farm. They have sorted it, they have cleaned it and sorted it, and they have supplied villages. They have gone to door and supplied this to villages. They have, whatever tomatoes were being grown in Kolar district, they have been able to pulp it and use this as a pulp which can be stored, and it's being marketed online and through Hopcoms. They have gone on to GEM, that is Government E-Marketplace. They have gone online. They have registered their masks and they are making their sale through the online. They are selling on Amazon. They are selling on Flipkart. They have made mobile mask selling units. Go to the various villages. They have sold masks at bus stands, bus stops. They have Can you just keep changing the slide, please? And the leadership that they provided, door-to-door awareness campaigns in all the villages, door-to-door distribution of ration kits, 65 community kitchens all over the state to provide food for stranded migrant workers, fruit, vegetables, and medicine distribution. And they have gone one step ahead, and they have made educated women about how to manage COVID situation. They've motivated communities to re-engineer their own lives and livelihoods. They've activated families to look positively at the adversity. And they've said opportunity comes even in the most dark times. So to look at everything as an opportunity, they've been keeping watch on people in the home quarantine. They've been informing district administration of any new people coming into the villages. They're keeping track of people's health and informing ASHA workers about any COVID-19 symptoms in anybody in their village, distributing masks, sanitizers, and food to COVID warriors, counseling and reassuring COVID families. And from all this, what I realize, we also started a Corona war room where we have telephone numbers. Anybody having any problem could call on these telephone numbers, which you can see on the screen, and in any district, and get help, whatever necessary help. So they even had, we had 400 women workers, women self-help group workers as volunteers. So apart from doing all this, the women, that is 1,68,000 groups, 10 people in a group, 11,68,000 women, they took on leadership to fight COVID in Karnataka. So the lessons we've learned from that is that we are at a threshold of a new decade of change for women. At 2020 has created a new promise across different socio-economic fronts, and this decade we will embrace and welcome women in a new emerging leaders, as new women as new emerging leaders of the COVID-19 times and after times and after the crisis. Leadership now I can acknowledge from whatever learning I have got, leadership in a crisis I can acknowledge is an act of conscious decision. And it actually comes from unlikely people. We would have never expected people below poverty level. This is the very last women of the poverty, below poverty level, coming forward, taking on such leadership, working in villages, not only making their own livelihood, not only taking care of their own family, taking care of the community, and taking community through this crisis, taking leadership of the community. And leadership actually requires painful choices, and it has to be developed and nurtured. But actually leadership, as I said, springs up in unlikely places through unlikely people. It turns out you don't have to have a degree in leadership development to effect a change in this world. You can grow up scavenging in village garbage dump, but still have a voice, make your voice heard, and to take on and make a change and make things happen, have a vision and make things happen. I thank you all for your participation and for your patient hearing. I now open out for questions. Before that, I'd like to say 2020 could be a beginning of a new decade for women from the marginalized and the suppressed classes. This will be the leadership from women of the suppressed classes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam, for the wonderful presentation, and I look forward for the participants to come up with your questions. I can see one of them who have sent a chat message, and I would also request others, if you have anything, maybe if you can raise your hands, you can also unmute yourself and ask questions.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, Dr. Saida Please go on.
Yeah, ma'am. SSGs have already always done wonders. So I was just thinking, like even NRLM SSGs have done great job in terms of economic empowerment as well, and also taking leadership in terms of difficult circumstances. So I was just thinking, like Kerala has done wonderful in terms of Kudumbashri concept. Like their SSGs are linked with the Gram Panchayats and have that government sanctity. Can't we have that in our in Karnataka is what my thinking, ma'am.
Ma'am, your mic is not unmuted. Ma'am, can you unmute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Saida. I would like to thank you for your question, but I'd like to correct you also. Sanjeevani in Karnataka, NRLM is called Sanjeevani in Karnataka. It's called Kutumbashri in Kerala. So you don't have to go so far as Kerala. You just have to turn to your backyard and you can see the leadership of NRLM women, Sanjeevani women in your own backyard. Kutumbashri started in a different model, and Karnataka model is totally different in the sense Karnataka actually it is a lot of hand holding that has been done in Karnataka, and we are yet to it's not started so early as the Kutumbashri. We started a little later than them, but Sanjeevani is Kutumbashri. So you just have to turn and look at your own backyard. A lot of things are happening. We may not have taken that much of publicity that Kutumbashri has done. We have not pushed for that kind of thing. But this COVID circumstances has actually showed us that NRLM women are leaders everywhere, in every village. They've gone to places where nobody has bothered to go. They have done things that nobody has bothered to do during COVID. They have done even garbage disposal during the COVID times. They're also cleaning vehicles. They're sanitizing vehicles for everybody. They've gone to that extent, and they've taken on the complete leadership of this COVID, I can say.
Thank you, ma'am. One more thing I just wanted to discuss. 1 hour back, I was attending one more webinar with regard to the challenges faced by slums. There are also lots of challenges. I mean, slums, it's obviously in the urban areas. Like NRLM, it's doing wonders in the rural areas. Is there any mechanism that we can take the same thing to the urban areas and ensure that even the urban SSGs are given hand-holding support, and they are also, their leadership is their leadership skills are also enhanced in a way.
Yes, what is done in rural areas can easily be. See, it is not that we have done something. It is that's what I said. Unlikely leadership emerges due to a conscious act of a decision. It is a choice you make. The choice these women have made. We have just given them a little push. We have just nurtured them. The similar kind of nurturing in a slum area, they can do wonders. It's possible. It's taking on leadership is a choice one makes, and it's just an instinct. Leadership is an instinct, and how do we turn this instinct into an action? We can actually turn this instinct into an action by just a little bit of nurturing and little bit of push. That's exactly what NRLM has done. Most of the work has been done by the women themselves.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I can see Miss Sumitra Acharya, Sumitra Advocate, asking a question. If the payment remuneration is paid properly. Is Sumitra out there? Sumitra?
Yeah, there is. See, this is a livelihood program, Sumitra. Can I see Sumitra, ma'am? Yeah. Is this Sumitra?
No,
Okay.
Sumitra is not to be seen. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is actually it is a livelihood program, madam. So they have earned for whatever work they have done, they have earned. The other works, like for example, door-to-door survey or distributing ration, all that they have done in addition to their livelihood activities.
Okay, good. And one more question is individual leadership. Is there individual leadership among these women uh, who motivated others? Kind of a question. This is by Skanda. Hello. Hello.
Emerged.
Yeah, madam.
And in every group, there is one leader, and in every group, the leader emerges out of his or her own interest. But the collective leadership, collectively they come out with a bang. That's why I said we are at a threshold of a new kind of leadership, which we are going to see in the future, which is going to take the country by a storm. Because every state they have done this kind of work. National Rural Livelihood Mission women, every state have done wonderful work.
Yeah, one more pointers by Dr. Subhash Chandra Sarangi, who says it's an excellent effort towards women empowerment, earning livelihood, social awareness, and fight against the pandemic. So he congratulates the webinar out here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Subhash.
Yeah, anybody else who wants to pose a question? Dr. Dilip, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, hello ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, please go on.
Can you all hear me? Yeah, good afternoon from Ranchi.
Good afternoon.
At the outset, I am thankful to Christina madam for giving me opportunity to join this webinar. Well, as I understand, this is related with Karnataka model of WSHG.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, ma'am. So my question is related to what kind of responsibilities are being assigned to WSHG members to deal with this COVID-19 crisis in Karnataka. They are directly into action, or they are at the cutting edge level working and doing sanitization work, or making the people aware about the do's and don'ts related to COVID-19. I mean, that is what I want to ask, and how they are getting the fund. They are utilizing their own fund, or they are getting financial support from NGO or any government organization.
For the individual livelihood activities and group livelihood activities, they have borrowed money from the community investment fund. We give them about 15.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible. Mamta, ma'am, your voice is not audible. I can also see Miss Regita, who also wants to ask a question. Maybe we are left with another 5 minutes before we end.
Yeah, can we ask, ma'am? Can I ask?
One second, I'm connecting madam out here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she's getting connected.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for inviting me also for the this meeting. I just want to ask you, what measures have taken for the safety of these women? Actually, I'm asking this because in Kerala we are seeing the health workers are getting affected. So I would like to know what measures you have taken for the safety of these women who are working in the field.
Okay. Do you also have any safety measures out there in Kerala?
Yeah, they have using the mask and sanitizers, and they are using soaps and that basic things they are doing.
Okay.
And also they are also undergone this test in between. So that I in my knowledge those things are the measures we are taking.
Okay.
So would like to know further.
Mamta madam, that now that you have joined, that was Gita who was from Kerala, and she was asking what are the measures that we have taken in Karnataka uh, for the safety of women.
Yeah, all these women have, whoever have been going to do surveys, create awareness among villages, sanitizing vehicles, doing installations, all these women we have provided them, in the sense, instead of saying we have provided, they have provided themselves with masks, sanitizers. They they have maintained the distance. In fact, we trained them. We utilized National Institute of Rural Development and UNICEF to train them. They became our master trainers. Now they have gone around in all the villages training other women as to how to manage. So what is the importance of social distancing, hygiene, sanitization, using masks.
Yeah.
So various aspects of COVID, they have actually trained other women. So they have themselves also distributed free of cost masks. They have taken, see, some district administration have been kind enough to provide, and some industries have given CSR funding, out of which masks and sanitizers have been made and given free of cost to all marginalized. They in fact took care of migrant workers in Karnataka. Most of the districts, migrant workers, homeless, stranded people, destitutes have been taken care of by SAG women through their community kitchen. They have utilized our vulnerability reduction fund. They have taken money from on CSR. They have been supported by the community at large. They have gone out of the way and given their time. That is more important. They've given their time. They have gone from door to door, and that's why I keep harping on that. That this 2020 is going to bring in new leaders into fold, because they have now been triggered. Leadership is an instinct and it needs a trigger. So COVID has actually worked as a trigger, and these leaders have emerged. Now there's no way of stopping them. They will go on.
We have just.
May I ask a related question?
Yeah,
Ma'am?
Yes,
we are left
definitely.
just 1 minute.
Yeah, this is Dilip Kumar. Yeah. Just I will ask a very short question.
Maybe
For the past 15 years, I have also been in training.
yeah.
So I would like to ask, how are you conducting the training during COVID? Online training you are conducting or offline? Because
Online training. We have trained. See, that's why I said using UNICEF and NIRD, we have trained them online, and they are in turn using their phones and their own facilities in the panchayat offices to do online training for people. So the complete thing is online.
That was a very informative presentation. Thank you, Dr. Mamta, for sharing the initiatives taken by Government of Karnataka in infusing leader among the members of self-help group in the tough times of COVID-19, and also answering to all the questions posed by participants. I thank all the participants in the program and all the viewers on behalf of Administrative Training Institute, Mysore. Signing off is your host, Dr. Christina Kantraj. For any further questions, you may contact us at atiwsfaculty@gmail.com. Thank you all.